Okay, there we are on Facebook. Ooh, we've got to adjust the camera. The camera is kind of jagged. Ah, all of it is jagged. All right, see if I can adjust this. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Instagram. The word today, the word today is pain. I haven't been doing my show every week now. So let's see if we can make this look some kind of. So I go at least 2 weeks because my show, really, the podcast, being you, I go for what? I do every other week, the first and third Tuesday of the month. So in between, especially if I have, like on the first Tuesday, as most of you know, I have Rev D. In the second Tuesday, it has been me for the most part. The last month I had a guest. But in between that, I feel like I once heard somebody say getting worded up. I feel like I get worded up. I feel so much bubbling up for me. And one of the things that is true, that I know to be true, actually, I need to double check to make sure the sound is good on Facebook, because sometimes you just never know. Let me see. And I interrupted my own train of thought, so I don't remember. I said something that's true. Getting worded up. I don't know what it was. So it will be what it is. I see some of you on Facebook. Let me know if I got sound. I am going to go to YouTube. If there's sound on YouTube, then I'm good. I just need to make sure before I break it down. Let's see. Where am I? My channel. Sound is good. Oh, thank you, Kiana. Thank you very much. Yeah, you'll be my tech support. Okay, so I don't have to go here then. Ooh, so yes, I'm getting worded up. I'm full. I know what I was going to say. I'm full. And today I was very clear that I spend a lot of time contemplating life, contemplating this thing called God, my actions, other people's actions, our behaviors, and the things that we do, and how we're showing up, the things that get on my nerves, the things I can't stand about other people, the things I can't stand about myself, the things, what we call spiritual truth. I find that I sit in it. I don't just take the concept and run with it. I've ran with the concept before, but I'm at a place now where I just say, what does that mean? What does that look like if someone is suffering? An idea that God is all there is. God is everywhere, evenly present. Someone who's suffering. What does that look like in another country where they're not free to speak? And if they do speak, they might get snuffed out. So I've always been a contemplator. I often say, contemplator? Yeah, I guess. If it wasn't a word, it is now. I often tell people, I'm in this. I'm always talking to spirit, but what I'm very clear about is I just reflect. And there is a teacher that I've been following for a while now, but lately I've been paying more attention to him. And it's a Father Richard Raw. He's a Franciscan priest, monk. And what I love about him is his ability to bring the balance, the middle, to Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism. He's just such. I love and appreciate him because I feel like he mirrors me. And we're talking about pain. That's kind of where we're launching from. And I'll come back to why I just wrote pain. And this idea, let me backtrack. Pain. You can even think right now what that brings up for you when you hear me say pain. Suffering. Pain and suffering. What does that bring up for you? How much time do you invest in avoiding pain and suffering? Whether it is So quick you don't even know you did it, or you actually put plans in place to avoid feeling pain, to avoid suffering. My deepening, yeah, I'm going to leave it as that, because for a while now, I've been thinking, when I talk about on my spiritual journey, I often say when I started my spiritual journey consciously, because every one of us, each one of us, we're on a spiritual journey, whether we call it that or not, because life is spiritual. Everything about life is spiritual. And the more we wake up to it, the more we understand that, the better we can dance and cooperate with life. Like, some people don't believe that, and that's fine. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean I know something that they don't. Well, I may know something that they don't know, and they know some things that I don't know. But doesn't mean the way I see it is the only way or is the best way. It doesn't mean how they see it is the only way or best way, right? But we tend to do that. We tend to cause pain while trying to avoid pain. So, how much time do you invest in avoiding pain? And I really want you to kind of don't just answer that as like for the right answer, if you will, but just reflect, contemplate how much time and effort do you put into avoiding pain? How much of your energy goes into avoiding pain? How much of your emotions get sucked up, sucked out, drained because you're avoiding pain? The pain of not wanting to be alone, the pain of not having enough money, the pain of never going to do it right, the pain of I'm going to go to hell, the pain of I can't forgive, I would never know how, the pain of I don't know how to, how to forgive someone who really broke my heart. I know I need to. We put a lot of pain into it. Some people make money off our pain. In fact, a lot of us makes money from pain. So those of us on a spiritual journey, conscious spiritual journey, we like to kind of like, I don't do pain. I don't do negativity. And the thing that I'm moving away from is even loosening the grip of how I identify with the spiritual community. Not that there's anything bad with it, but pain happens when we live in this dualistic world. If you haven't heard, if you don't know Father Richard Rohr, RORH, I think, or the other way around. Yeah, that's the way to Google it. Google will tell you, do you mean? He's so heart-centered. It touches me. His words lift me up. And what I'm noticing in the world as I reflect, as I take action, as I contemplate, as I pray, it's like there's a lot going on in the world, and it's all because of us feeling pain in some level. Now, some people say, I don't do pain. I've learned that I am one with God and everything is love. Sometimes you can tell where people are coming from based on how they're saying what they're saying. And how they say it is how they say it. It really doesn't matter. Pain is going to be forever with us as human beings, as far as I see it for now. Maybe eventually we will evolve, but there is something about pain that we often miss when we try to avoid it. The wisdom of pain, the gift of pain. Now, check this out. Pain has been with us from the beginning. And I'm not talking about the beginning of humankind. I'm talking about from your beginning, my beginning. Those of you that listen, our beginning, from the beginning, we've always been in pain, felt pain. We were in pain and felt pain. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Let me hear, just share. It's often good. I mean, it's an invitation, but a lot can happen when you share your thoughts. It is like making love. If you're making love to somebody, they just lie there like, yeah, oh yeah, And you're just lying down there, or they're just lying down there. It's like, yeah, it is good. However, if there's no sort of like a reciprocal, that exchange, that word, if there's not a touch or something happening back and forth, it's not fun. It can be because I could make it fun, but there's something about two or more coming together, sharing thoughts, sharing stories. Oh my God, I come here. Thank you. Reciprocity. Thank you, Kiana. Thank you. You're reading my thoughts. That's scary. When there is that, especially when we're doing a show or a live, whatever it is, it does help. So I just put that out there. Kiana said, pain can be a messenger. On some scale, suffering is a choice. I love that. I love that because it's triggering thoughts. That's why I love the comments, because it triggers thoughts for me. So I want to ask this question. Pain has been with us, has been with you from the beginning of your time. What comes up for you when you hear that? I really want to hear, because it occurred to me this morning. I'm like, damn, that's deep. But yet it's not. Oftentimes the things that are deep are just simple. It's just seeing something that was always been there, that somebody labor. Okay, great. Kiana said labor comes up for her. So oftentimes when we hear people say something and we say, that's deep, it's not like it was just simple. They made something that was sort of in the unconscious mind visible. And when it hits the conscious mind, it's like, whoa, I've never thought about that. And yes, Kiana, that's exactly what I'm saying. Labor. And Kiana said, I'm being popped on the bum to cry, to take one's first breath. From the beginning, we came in experiencing pain. I believe that the baby felt the pain that the mother was going through and growing through. I believe it. But I'm willing to say that maybe the baby was immune to the pain, because maybe, I doubt it, but maybe the baby couldn't interpret what pain is. However, the process of coming from the invisible to the visible, the baby went through that vibration of pain. The baby knows what the mother is always feeling. So whether the baby was feeling the pain or experiencing the pain, it is the same thing. The wisdom of pain, if we spend more time listening when we are in those painful places, in that place of suffering, we will learn so much. Now, I want to talk about what Kiana said, which I love. Suffering is a choice. Yes. So there is a conscious choice. And then there is a part of us that is not conscious about the suffering that we're going through and growing through. That's right. Kwali said, my pain was coming into this world. That's right. All of us, whether they cut you open or they pushed you out, there was some kind of pain. When they cut you open, you probably were numb from feeling the pain, which can also influence how you move through life, because that was the whoa, what do I want to say? That was the setting. That was a stage for your entrance. Your mother had to be given some sort of painkiller while they put to sleep, really. And what we grew up in, what we marinated in when we're inside our mother's womb matters. It influences, it affects how we show up in the world. So yes, when they slap you in the ass, that's what I'm going to say. Pain. Respond to pain with a cry like, wait, what the hell are you doing? It's cold, I'm freezing, I'm wet, and now you hit me? What kind of devil are you? I'm trying to figure out my life. So this whole thing about pain, we're trying to avoid it. And one of the things about being in UK that I really appreciate, there's been a gift, is when you watch the news or the programs, mostly the news, but when you watch the programs here, particularly news, You hear the news on a global level. You find out what's going on in the world, not just in UK. Now in America, as often what's happening in America. And every now and then there's a story about something that happened in Ethiopia or Iraq. The big stories. I think that's dangerous. I don't think. I know it's dangerous because what it does, it conditions people to think that the only thing that's important is what's going on around them. That's the only thing that's important. And sometimes it's not even conscious. It becomes an unconscious way of being because information is coming and we are being programmed. We are being programmed to respond to life a certain kind of way. So when I watch the news here, which I don't do it by choice, when I go to London to be with my father, and he's always watching news, Nigerian news, and they particularly covered the world, I'm recognizing everybody got some shit going on in their lives. All these leaders are mother fathers. They are people who are in pain on some level. On some level. Hey, Pat, how are you doing? Nice to see you, my dear sister. Leaders are in pain. Celebrities are in pain. Teachers are in pain. Doctors are in pain. The person who owns a store in the corner is in pain. You're in pain. We're in pain. But what we do is because as a society, and I think it's more Western thinking, not giving credit where it's not due, is we try to avoid pain. We're trying to ensure pain away. We judge pain. We make pain wrong. But all of us got some shit we're dealing with. William, my brother, namaskar to you too. Namaskar, namaste. And there's so much we can receive from just acknowledging our pain. And not just saying, yeah, okay, I have pain about that, but in telling the story to another, in sharing the story with people that we love and care about, whether it's children, nieces and nephews, cousins, friends, neighbors, to say, this is what I'm dealing with. The more we are vocal about the pain that we're going through, the freer we all become. Everybody's dealing with stuff. Pain cracks us open. Father Richard Rohr would say, there's nothing that breaks the heart open like deep pain or deep love. You know, I share that I am a shadow worker because we have a lot of light workers. Ooh, you're going to hear my judgment come up now. I'm not going to do that because I don't need to. I've done it. I've said a lot about that over the years. However, what I'm going to say is, if you are a light worker and you say you're afraid of the darkness, you might need a different light bulb. Because the only reason for, let me say that differently. If you're a light worker because you believe you're bringing light to places that are dark. You're bringing light to darkness. So if you're afraid to share the dark side of your life, if I'm afraid to share the darkness of my life, what business do I have calling myself a light worker? What am I doing with my light? We are light beings, period. Whether I say it loud or not. Each and every one of us, there are things that we're dealing with. We have titles and labels that we wear, a radio host, a healer, a teacher. And somehow we've conditioned ourselves that because someone has a fancy title, maybe because that's not what I do, or I can't do what they do, we automatically give our power away and say, oh, they know better than us. They know better than me. Oh my God, they're better than me. And even worse, one of my pain is how it shows up is, for a long time, I look at other people doing the same thing that I'm doing, and it seems to me that they're doing far better than me, that they're more successful, that they're making money selling services and e-courses, and they have clients and they're taking reservations, and I compare myself. That was pain from pain. The pain of not feeling like I'm enough, comparing myself to people who I believe are more than me and causing myself more pain. There's so many ways that we cause ourselves pain. And to get beyond that pain, we have to be willing to look at both sides and recognize whether it's the light, whether it's the dark, to recognize, to realize, to remember that that's not the end of the story. My teaching is always about in the middle. It's always about in the middle. I have a client that I'm working with, coaching right now. Recently I gave her what I call a soul work. I don't call it homework. It's a soul work. And it's recent. We just started coaching. So I'm going to say this in a way that's neutral enough, because one of the things I can't stand, one of the things that causes me pain is when I get on Facebook sometimes and people say, I just worked with a client of mine. They were dealing with blah, blah, blah. And I managed to help them see this. And I didn't understand why they consider. I'm like, oh, please stop. I don't like that. I feel like people who I work with, people who work with us, coaches, teachers, ministers, healers, doctors, all of it. I mean, really, when people bring their sacred stories, when they bring something in confidence, when they bring their vulnerability, we have a responsibility to hold it with care. To hold it with care, not just broadcast it just because I don't say a name. Because if I work with a coach, if I worked with a healer and then I see them doing Facebook Live, I just work with a client and he was oh yeah, that's the last time we're working together. A part of me is private, believe it or not. But I think we have a responsibility of care for each other. So one of the things that I'm working with this client with, well, the soul work, was something that most people would say is negative. And they're dealing with it from a negative place as well. But what we're actually doing now, the work I gave her is, let's look for the gift. Let's look for the wisdom. Let's look for the truth in that. We are so quick to make one thing negative. This is positive. This is bad. This is evil. When we do that, we separate ourselves from the truth of who we are. Judgment is dangerous. And then the intellect says, oh, you got to have judgment about what's good and what's bad. Yes, you do. But I'm talking about seeing rightly, the ability to zoom out of your life. What you're hearing today is a result of a lot, really. You know, I was in London up until Monday. I'm going back tomorrow. And I have been, you know, with my sisters caring for our dad. And once again, without putting too much out there, I've had to, this past weekend, I was mostly the main one caring for him. And people have asked me, some people asked me, what was it like? How was it? How did it go? And I tell them the best way I can put it is growth inducing, truth revealing, heart expanding. A friend that I shared that with recently said, ooh, there's so much in that one sentence. And it's true, because I had to confront some things. And it wasn't necessarily triggering. Some things were annoying. But what I recognize is we all have our individual way of looking at life. We all have things that we're dealing with, and oftentimes we may not have words for it. We have different ways of dealing with things that we're moving through. And our reaction to the things we're dealing with that we're not verbalizing, our reaction could be kind of harsh sometimes. And I've gotten to a place after this past weekend, I got a clear understanding that everybody is doing the best. Even the ones that we might say are not doing their best, they're doing their best based on what they know. Based on what they know, we have to embrace this idea of non-duality. I often talk about the duality of oneness, the light and the shadow. It's a duality of oneness. In fact, they're the same. The up and the down. It's the same. Daytime, nighttime. It's the same. The logical mind needs that sometimes. We need that. We need what time is it? Okay, it's what is it? It's 9:32 p.m. in UK. It's 4:32 in Atlanta in the Eastern time zone. Yes, we need that. But we must allow ourselves to recognize that if we live in this dualistic world, I'm spiritual, they're religious, I know something they don't know, it causes pain. When people don't address their pain, they get greedy. They think money is the key. They end up becoming leaders of countries and they just siphon money and they don't even care about their citizens. And while they're giving speeches, they don't understand the beauty of the earth. They don't have a relationship with earth. And they think by throwing money to it is what we're going to do to save the earth. And the earth is just like, whatever, they still ain't got it. Yes, I know we need money. Money is going to be needed to be part of the change of climate change, global warming, whatever name you call it. They change it and change it and change it. It really is irrelevant. But when we can really embrace what it takes to go through and grow through this thing called life and be honest with ourselves, with one another, that sometimes I'm in pain. Sometimes I'm suffering. I want to go back to the thing about suffering that Kiana said is a choice. When we can be honest about the things that maybe we're even ashamed to talk about, feeling guilty to talk about, it breaks us open. It breaks our heart open that we start having compassion for another brother, another sister, another person, another human being. And you cannot go through life with an open heart and not transfer that, if you will, to the earth. The opening of the heart lets you know that you're part of the earth, that the earth is given to you and you are given to it. It's a harmonious relationship if you choose it. And there's not a lot you can do to protect the earth. I wasn't going to talk about that. I don't know why, but it's things I've been thinking about. You can support it. Whether we get consumed by an earthquake or hurricane, whatever it is, right? Earth will replenish itself. Life is eternal. Life goes on. The only thing that's going to disappear is this body. So when people talking about, I'm concerned about the earth we're living for our grandchildren, I'm really worried. Yeah, okay, sounds good. How about the earth that you're living? If you can't appreciate the earth you're living in on right now, you can't really do much then, or what's to come. Anyway, let me bring it back. My point is, as we honor all of life, that sometimes the things that we're praying for, that when it happens, we're quick to judge it and don't see the divine in it. Like, are you sure? Even though on some level we've been praying for that answer. Ooh, that's too good to be true. People say if it's too good to be true, it is. How do you measure that? How do you measure what is too good to be true? We have bought into a dualistic thinking instead of recognizing that there's always more, and God is the only thing happening. The divine is the only thing happening. Life is the only thing happening. And as we take time to be still, contemplate, develop a relationship with the divine that is already here. We're in it, it's in us, right? We get to know what is true and what isn't. We get to know what is true and what isn't. Now, there's another fallacy, a misconception about when you're spiritual, you just sit back and don't take action. That's not spirituality. That's spiritual bypass. spiritual bypassing. I believe that the more spiritual, the deeper you go in aligning and recognizing your spiritual nature, the more you're inspired to take action, to bring about change. And it's not necessarily about changing the world, even though your actions could change the world. It probably change the world. But more importantly, is taking action with people around you, with yourself. Like honoring my own pain, honoring the fact that I compare what I do and who I am, which is so much more. This work that I do, it's I'm answering a call. It's not something that I designed. Sometimes when I don't even want to do a broadcast, I know I got to show up because I'm hearing the call. I was actually going to do this broadcast yesterday. It didn't happen yesterday. And I keep hearing that nudge, do it today. I got something I'm trying to do. I'm writing daily thoughts. It needs to be completed today. And it's going to be completed today somehow. But when we listen to a deeper call, when we listen to a higher call, we give ourselves permission to feel what we feel, and we embrace the wisdom of pain. We save energy. We find peace of mind because we are taking time to recognize that in life, some things are going to hurt. Life is in session, and so it is. Let me go back to that thing about suffering. I personally want to say that life is a choice. So Kiana said, pain can be a messenger. On some scale, suffering is a choice. Yes, there's some things that are, I would say suffering is a choice. Yes, and so is pain. And it's a choice that we can embrace. We can choose to embrace pain. We can choose to embrace suffering, because when we experience the suffering from a place of humility, we know that it is going to break us open. We know it's going to soften us. We know it's going to cause us to see differently if we choose that. But while we're feeling pain or while we're suffering, if we continue to look for someone to blame, if we use pain, power and privilege to point fingers, we're not going to catch the message. We won't understand the medicine, and there is no gift that we're going to get from it. So everybody's trying to avoid not causing pain or feeling pain because, oh my God, it's really bad to experience pain. Or if someone caused pain, we say, cancel that person. They should never have to talk. I've looked up to them all my life. Yes, I understand everybody needs to be accountable for their words, for their actions, for their thoughts, for what they're doing in the world, how they're showing up, the energy they're bringing to the space. We all need to be accountable. But this idea of canceling somebody is a reflection of our own demonization, crucifixion. Like we do not allow ourselves to make mistakes or even speak the thoughts that we really believe, even though other people might deny. We're afraid to speak our truth. If someone else speaks their truth, we're like, how dare you? I can't speak my truth. You get to do it. Now, there's some people who are going to do things that just like cause, the whole thing about free speech. You got it, but you can't say, what is it, fire in a crowded space. Those are things that's necessary. And remembering, understanding that we're all going through crap. We're all going through it. So whether I'm spiritual or religious or atheist, agnostic, Buddhist, Christian, it really doesn't matter. How are you showing up? Can a loved one feel safe in your presence? Or can they feel judged, criticized, crucified by your new awareness? If what you're learning about yourself that is setting you free is causing somebody else's pain, that's not true freedom. There's enough pain in the earth, in the earth. There's enough pain in the world. And the way to ease the pain is to tell the truth about our pain. Find someone to talk to about your pain. Or at least be willing to see what is causing pain. I remember I've met with business people and they say, you got to highlight the pain for people. You got to highlight their pain. And once you tap into their pain, just keep going at it. Keep pushing. And I'm like, I can't do that. That feels disingenuous. Just like I figure out their pain and now I'll keep poking at it. I have a better understanding of it now because it's pain that causes us to say, I need a better way, and a book fell off a bookshelf in a bookstore. It's pain that led us to a podcast. It's pain that leads us to a group, Super Soul Sunday, Marion Williamson, Agape, Hillside International Truth Center, Science of Mind, whatever, Spiritual Living Center. It's pain to a church, to a mosque. We're always dealing with pain. We can't avoid it. Maybe in many years to come, I don't know, but it really doesn't matter. What matters is right now. And if you need help with working through your pain, lifecoachade.com. You know how to spell life coach. It's my name you might not be able to spell. Lifecoachade.com. Sign my mailing list. Send me an email. We'll book a session. Pain. The gift of pain is in the middle. What I do is bring people back to the middle, back to the center, to recognize that there's value in this and there's value in that. Now I get to decide in the center. I get to decide if I want to go for what that is giving me, or I want to go for that, or maybe there is something else that is being revealed that I'm not quite seeing. Rather than thinking, oh, it's just their ego. Their ego was getting the best of them. They're a narcissist. That's another thing that we talk about. Oh, we're good at finding narcissists. Oh, he's a narcissist. She's a narcissist. Everybody else is but us, right? And if everything is connected, if everything is one, then we are that too. What part of you is narcissistic that sees that or recognizes that in another? Again, that's not me just minimizing the kind of really horrible, evil, harmful things that humans do. As human beings, we can be dangerous. And we get to call forth the best in ourselves and others. Questions, thoughts, ideas. Like I said before, this is a process of making love. This might make some people uncomfortable, but that's another thing. Get over it. The pain of sex, the pain of sexuality, the pain of making love. We are so afraid of our sexual energy that we've demonized it. That we tell kids, you're too young, or I don't want the same thing that happened to me to happen to you. Or if you have sex at a young age, you might have disease, STDs, STIs. We have to scare the shit out of people in order not to engage in something that's so beautiful. Yes, I get that you have to be emotionally and mentally ready for it. And I'm not even saying we should let kids have sex. That's not what I'm saying. But if we're trying to encourage rather than discourage, we have a different conversation about sex. We become a society that's hard. You hear vagina, you're like, whoa, you said that out loud. Penis. Oh my God. We call it private parts. When people are naked, if you're in a room, are you decent? Are you decent means are you clothed? If you're naked, then you're indecent. What's that thing when if someone runs in the street and then indecent something where you can get charged for that? Our nakedness is considered to be indecent. Like if you're naked, there's something wrong about that. But when you're clothed, then that's cool. Now, that can seem kind of simple. However, not only is it metaphorical, it's deeper. We're afraid of nakedness. To confess your pain, your rawness, your vulnerability is to be naked. To say I don't know, to say I'm struggling with my finances. That's one of the things that's teaching me. Money is teaching me some deep lessons. And working with people and saying this is how you put your products together, your services together. And sometimes I feel like I'm pimping myself. I never moved on some of those things. The things that makes me feel like I might be pimping myself. It's like I have to find an alignment. How do I charge for the services that I give? That what I do it even when I'm not doing it. And yet, understanding that I'm on this earth, I have expenses and there are ways. First, I got to change my mind. One of it is what I'm changing, as I said earlier. This morning just occurred to me that the way I teach is different. It's different. However, I was comparing my difference and my different to somebody else's different, to somebody else's difference. And I make their difference more important than mine. But I don't want to do what they're doing, but they seem to be successful. When you allow life to cut you wide open you up, break you open, oh my God, you find yourself, peaceful perspective. Hey, Shannon, she said, open, honest conversation. That's correct. Indecent exposure. Thank you. Yes. Someone's running around naked, they say indecent exposure. Exactly. What's indecent about it? They're naked. Where in your life do you need to be more open, more vulnerable, more revealing? Where in your life are you afraid? What's that thing that you're afraid that if anybody finds out? Or maybe you've gotten to a place where it was so bad, it was so traumatic, it was so scary, you were so betrayed that you've forgotten that it's there. And the way to heal the things that are hidden that you don't know it's there, you don't even know that you don't know that it's there. So if you don't know that you don't know, you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. And the way to bring healing to that, to bring yourself back to wholeness, to express more of the divine, more of God, more of truth, more of life, is to give yourself permission to have different experiences. Eat food from a different culture. Interact with people that you don't normally hang out with. Have a conversation with a Republican. Have a conversation with a Democrat. Have a conversation with somebody who loves their meat. They love it so much, they always ask for it to be raw at a restaurant. Got some blood coming out. Ooh. All right. That's a bit tough for me. I mean, I don't care if people, however, well, if they're eating it raw, which I've seen people eat raw. Ooh. It's not even, I don't even have a judgment about them. I don't know if I can stomach watching them do that. But my point is creating spaces, allowing ourselves to be in spaces where they're having a different conversation, where we might have to grow, where what we brought to the table is not enough to keep the conversation going. Maybe you might have to say, I've never heard that before. Oh my God, I don't know. And you may be the only one that's saying, I don't know. I don't know, but I think I'm done. I'm not done. I'm complete for now. Thank you all for joining me. Today's Wednesday, right? Join Ricky Byers and myself tonight for you if you're in America. That is 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's 2 a.m. UK time for Soul Fulfilling. It would be good to have you join us as we dance and move and hum and step into stillness. And at the end of the show, even before the end of the show, you are feeling soulfully fulfilled. So fulfilled, so fulfilling. If you don't know about it, go to youtube.com/Ricky Byers, RICKIE BYARS. Kimberly, it's nice to see you. Oh my God. You're very welcome, my dear sister. You're very welcome. And if you need someone to support you, I am your shadow worker. Let's go in those dark places and reveal the light. The greatest gift, the greatest thing about you is in the shadow. You know how I know? Because I've discovered that about myself. It's in the shadow. I didn't want to go get it. But when I allow it out, I'm like, oh my God, all this time I've been judging it. Let's go in the shadow together and retrieve the gems. Retrieve your magnificence, your brilliance. Ashley, you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Shannon, thank you very much. She said, I appreciate your loving energy. I appreciate you too, my dear sister. I'm out of here. Feel free to share your comments. I will address it soon. Yeah. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Gail, how are you? I love you too. Oh my God. I haven't seen you. Why are you up so late? Well, I love you too, Gail. Sorry, I just saw another question. It's so good to see you. So Kwali's asking me, why am I up so late? Do you mean right now or later on? Because right now it is almost 10 p.m. It's 5 hours difference. You're in Florida, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to know what time, if you want to spy on me, if you see me posting when it's 10 o'clock your time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? He's up at 3 a.m.? I'm often am. But anyway, putting my own business out on the street. Yeah, Ricky Byers, if you're talking about that, Ricky Byers and I do a show. I'm sure you know it. And she does it at 6 o'clock her time, Pacific time. It happens to be 2 a.m. my time. I love you too, my dear sister. It happens to be 2 a.m. my time. So when love calls, you better answer. The love. This is what I do. I do what I do for the love. Lifecoachade.com. If you have somebody else you're working with, give the love, give the love, give the energy by signing my mailing list. And if you want to make a donation, feel free to do that too. If you want to give a gift, feel free to do that. What's my Cash App? Oh, you're playing with me. I know. I was like, I stay up late. Cash App. Well, if you want to do it in dollars, it's Life Coach. What is it? $ Life Conversations. Life Conversations. If you want to donate there. If you want to do it in pounds, it's $ Life Coach Ade. Life Coach ADE. Sign my mailing list, lifecoachade.com. I am out of here. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Be well. Be true to yourself and embrace your pain. There's wisdom in pain. He has a gift for you. You can't run from it. You can run from it, but you can't hide. All right, Facebook and YouTube.